Piracy on the world shipping is costing lives and billions of dollars each year, and the problem is getting worse. The number of attacks has gone up by a third in the first half of 2011, and in the most recent assault, a tanker was hijacked off the coast of Benin, sparking concerns of copycat attacks spreading from the waters off Somalia to West Africa. As of mid-July, pirates were holding 22 vessels, and although the situation has improved since February, it's likely to worsen again when the monsoon season ends.
We fully expect that as the monsoon season ends, we'll see an upward trend again. Of course, we're going to push for best management practices, and the naval forces are going to do everything they can in the area. I would, as I say, expect to see an upward trend, and we'll do everything we can with our international colleagues to try and mitigate that as much as possible.
With more than 12% of the total volume of oil transported by sea going through the Gulf of Aden, the energy sector is particularly at risk. Attacks on oil and chemical tankers rose by 36% in 2011, and crude oil tankers sailing in the east and northeast of the Gulf of Aden are being targeted.
Somali pirates are quite interested in particular in the energy sector because the oil tankers they have released recently have fetched them very high ransoms. So they may have more intent now to target tankers than they did before, simply because of the rewards they could gain. A repeat of instability and pirate attacks off the coast could again lead to a spike in prices. It could cause concern on international markets. It could make it difficult for anyone to ship goods into ports along the coast, which could lead to a rise in prices for commodities on the land in West Africa as well.
Attacks are getting bigger, bolder and more violent, especially by Somali pirates, spurring the use of private armed security firms. They are controversial because of concerns about inexperienced and unqualified operators trying to cash in and fears they will fuel the violence of attacks. But they are proving to be very effective.
We do see an increase in violence amongst the pirates, which of course is of great concern, and that's also one of the reasons that we decided to put armed guards on our ships. So the armed guard question is something that's come up increasingly in the last 12 months when the shipping industry felt that there wasn't being done enough to protect them going through the area. Armed guards is a very, very effective means to protect yourself. There's not a single ship that has been taken so far that has had armed guards on board. You can probably say that it's going to cost you somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Ransoms are also soaring and estimated to be around double the value actually paid to pirates. Other large costs come from increasing insurance premiums, security equipment, and from ships being held and out of service. Non-profit foundation One Earth Future has estimated the total piracy bill at $7 to $12 billion a year. Costs are also rising when ships are diverted around the Cape of Good Hope to avoid pirate-infested waters. Mileage and freight rates are doubled, and fuel and CO2 emissions increase sharply. Meanwhile, the human cost of piracy is getting higher as hostages are kept for longer, suffering trauma and torture. 7 people have been killed by Somali pirates this year, and at least 463 seafarers are being held hostage, with their time in captivity averaging 6 months.
Even one seafarer in the hands of pirates is one seafarer too many. So we must continue our efforts, intensify in fact our efforts to bring the number down as much as possible.
As pirate attacks get more sophisticated, using motherships and hostages as bargaining pawns for the release of prisoners, the IMO is calling for much more to be done. Under its action plan, it seeks the capture, prosecution and punishment of all those involved, and the tracing and confiscation of ransom money. For lawless Somalia, most organisations agree that the problems at sea can only be resolved by tackling those on land. I'm Camilla Reid, and this is Reuters.